the Snooty Podcast.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Snooty Lounge Podcast. As y'all can see, we done kind of took it over. You know what I'm saying? I'm at shout out to CBS 44. And then came and we're doing an interview with my sports director. But let me do the, you know how I do it, y'all. You know I got to punch it in, right? So, shout out to my sports director, Reese Furlow. Sports director, funny. Always walk into the camera in his intro, do some cool things, but he never talked good about the Braves, though. But Mets fan, Cardinals fan, and just an overall good man. Welcome to the show, Reese Furlow.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's good to be here.
For sure. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. So where exactly are you from?
So I started my rise in West Palm Beach. That's exactly where I grew up. You know, I'm not really a Florida man, technically. You know, I claim New York, but Florida is where home is.
For sure. So I know you played sports when you got to high school, and I know you say you played running back. How was it, you know, playing sports when you was in school?
Receiver.
Receiver, sorry.
Yeah, wide receiver. Played a little bit of Little League baseball. That's where I started out. I wanted to be a baseball player growing up, but then, you know, I realized it's very hard to make it into Major League Baseball. So my dad put me into football in high school, and that's when I started to really enjoy playing sports. I was playing receiver for Santa Lucia. Shout out to Santa Lucia's High School. And that's where I made my mark.
Let me back up right quick. So who was your favorite baseball player when you was growing up when you played Little League?
Ooh, favorite Jose Reyes.
Nice.
I would say, yeah. I would say, well, you know, growing up a Mets
Yeah.
fan, it's kind of hard to not like anybody outside of your team. But Jose Reyes, I mean, he was fast. He could hit. He wasn't really a power guy, so that's kind of where I was like, that's what I like, because I couldn't hit home runs. I was just fast.
Yeah.
So I got on base, and you know, I just studied his game, and that's pretty much where it went from there.
Sure. So let me go get the football. So when you scored your first touchdown, what was the celebration?
Ooh, first
touchdown. What was
Well,
that?
I was a humble guy. Everybody used to call me Larry Fitzgerald on the football field, so I would always hand the ball to the ref, and it would go from there. But yeah, I wasn't really like a gritty or a, you know, dunk through the goalpost kind of guy. I was just, here you go, ref, let's go celebrate on the sideline.
So outside of sports, football, baseball, and all that, what did you really do for fun when you know, in school before and all that in high school?
Oh, man, really, I have no idea. I was just like I guess you could say I was a loner kid. I used to watch anime, you know, read, things like that. I didn't really do anything like outside of school besides sports. So whenever I did have that free time, I would either exercise or, you know, be a nerd.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, shout out to nerds out there like me too. So
That's right.
did you ever, when you was younger, did you ever think of like you would be like Stuart Scott or like, you know, Dan Patrick and be in this type of field, what you're doing right now? Did you ever think of that? Or?
Well, you know, it's crazy. I had no intention of being a sportscaster when I was younger. I really wanted to be a, well, I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. He wanted me to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't know any better. What's an entrepreneur, you know, like, but I'm horrible at math, so I couldn't really dive into the business side like that. I had to, I don't know, it just wasn't for me. So I was kind of trying to find out who I was going to be, you know, because I had a pretty bad injury in football that really like curved my career. I couldn't play anymore. I didn't get the scholarships I wanted, so it was hard for me to, you know, get into sports again. So for me, it was more so like, well, instead of playing it, why not just talk about it? Because you like to talk about sports, so it's easier that way, and you don't get CTE at the end of,
No,
at the end of your life, you know?
need no CTE from this, right?
So
what was the play that kind of altered that injury play that happened?
oh my gosh, it was spring game 2013. I forget the team we were playing, but I was running a slant route, and then as soon as I hit that cut, I felt it. You know, 3 steps inward, I just felt it on that cut, and sprained my MCL, and it was it from there.
Sorry about that for real though.
Man,
but, yeah.
that was it.
But the college you went to, I know it was in Florida. What was the specific name of it?
The University of West Florida.
What was your experience like at Florida College? What was your experience?
Well, you know, it was good to finally get away from home. You know, I'm not really a homebody. I like to, you know, venture off and do my own thing. So to go from West Palm Beach to Pensacola, it was something I felt like I needed because it was either like a make or break kind of thing for me. Am I going to grow up or am I going to always be a mama's boy or a daddy's boy? So it was a good escape for me to go off to college and, just get that adult experience that I needed.
What was the original plan when you went to college? Did you always go for communication, or did you go for something else?
At that point, yeah, I was going for communications because I believe it was the year right after I graduated high school, so my freshman year of college. I went to a 2-year state college at first before I went to UWF. So in that 2 years at the state college, I was like, man, what do I want to do? Like, I'm here in college now. Like, I should know what I want to do by now. And that's when it dawned on me, like, okay, you can talk about sports pretty well. So why? And you got the personality, I actually wanted to be an actor at one point, but acting's just as hard as getting it drafted. So I felt like, mashing the two together, talking sports, acting, having a good personality is what got me to where I'm at now.
Kind of glad you went to the movie thing. My favorite movie is Baby Boy and Friday.
Okay, Friday. Yeah.
So what was your favorite? Like, what is your favorite movie, or a movie that kind of that just correlates with you?
Well, now we talked about this earlier. You said you're not a Marvel or DC guy, but
I'm not.
I will say Avengers: Infinity War is my favorite movie of all time.
So for a man like me who need to actually get started doing the DC and Marvel, is there a movie I can start with to get me in there, or do I got to start all the way from the...
Man, you got a ways to go. Yeah.
How long is the... ain't it like 50 years long, watch all of them?
No, you got to start from 2008. That's when the first Iron Man movie came out. But you do have to start from Iron Man 1 up until like... I believe it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Volume 2 is like the last one. Now, I'm not personally a Marvel guy, I'm a DC guy, but the Marvel movies, I mean, they kick butt.
They kick butt,
okay.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to Student Lines Podcast, and I'm with the sports director, Reese Furlow. But now we're gonna get to some of the, I guess, nerdy sportscaster type of questions. Oh. So when you did your first actual story, like in college or whatever, what was the first actual thing you covered?
Gosh, wow. You're making me feel old here, Rodney. In college, I guess the first thing would be the West Florida football team was my first, because on these assignments they make you do like so many different stories. You can't do what you actually want to do. So the first assignment I wanted to do was cover the West Florida football team. I will say I'll never forget that first story. I forgot to turn on the microphone for the guy I was interviewing. And I was like, dang, what do I do? Because I have to turn this in tomorrow.
Right.
Thankfully, my roommate was an offensive lineman for the football
Shout out
team.
to the O-lineman.
Shout out to the O-lineman. And he was like, yo, let's just run outside real quick. I'll interview for you. And that ended up saving my skin.
That's what's up. So what was I'm just very interested, like, when I hearing like news directors, sportscasters do this, like, what was the first highlight you ever called?
The first highlight I ever called was probably when I got here. The first highlight was, I believe it was Doherty versus, I couldn't tell you, but it was a basketball game. That's all I remember.
For sure. So I know, it was 2 years. So you did 2 years at the previous college, and you did another 2 years at West Florida University. The West Florida University.
Yes.
So realize you're about to graduate, you're gonna get that degree. What was the feeling when you woke up that morning, like, I'm done with this, like, I'm about to walk the stage?
It felt good, it felt really good. It was like, wow, I'm the first on my dad's side of the family to graduate college. So it was a great feeling. I enjoyed that. And man, I will say it was bittersweet because I was gonna miss my friends. I don't know if I'd ever see them again. So it was a bittersweet feeling.
I understand. So let's go and get to the career path of, I know you got the WSWG, you rep the CBS gang and all that, but what was your first career path when you first graduated college?
So silly old me thinking I was gonna get right into New York after graduating college, but I got a big awakening. I got that humble awakening where it was like, you're not gonna make it to where you think you're gonna make it. I had to start at a local newspaper that paid me like $30 a story. And then from there, writing about politics, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, I went to another local newspaper where I was kind of trying to fit into the sports scene. I was like, hey, I'm good at sports. Let me write for sports. He's like, oh, we already got a sports guy. You're good. And they used to pay me like $60 an article. And then I got to the real, place, the Palm Beach Post. Shout out to the Palm Beach Post. They let me just go crazy. I was only a freelancer, but I got to write sports stories, like no news, no politics, no nothing. It was all sports, and that's where I really felt, at home. That's when you ever realize this is what I know I want to be doing.
Right.
It was in that moment where I was like, okay, this is for me. I know that this is my career.
I would have never knew that you wrote How was it writing actual just politics?
God, I hated it. It was so bad. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what to write, how to write. It was like, what do you want me to do? But I'm just glad it didn't last as long as it did.
For sure. So when you got to West Palm, is that where you found your personality of how you are now, or when did you find your personality, how you are?
Shout out to Jim Barry. That is my mentor. He works over at CBS 4 in Miami. And I had applied to work at that station. I reached out to him, and I sent him my reel and stuff. He's like, Reese, I'm gonna give you a call. We're already good on sports reporters, but let me just talk to you real quick.
Right.
And he was like, man, your reel sucks, pretty much. He gave me that father son type of talk, and was just like, find yourself. I know you can be better than what you presented me. Right. And I spent an entire year just me and my iPhone going out to different events. I went to Jacksonville to cover a Cardinals game. I went to Orlando to cover a Magic game. I was just doing stand up, just trying to figure out who I am, what my voice could be, what my personality could be. And it was right there in front of my face, It was like, I'm me, nobody else can be Reese Furlow. So it's just be Reese Furlow. And that's what he showed me.
That's what's up for real.
Yeah.
So how did you get on here at CBS 44?
I don't think I'm allowed to say it, but let's just say thanks to Jim, he had an agent that I could not afford, and he was just really nice. He was like, hey, this company has an ad out for a sports reporter, so just reach out to the news director at the time. And he called me as soon as I sent that email. I was like, hey, y'all hiring? And he was like, dude, yeah, come on, right now, we need you, get over here. And I was just like, okay. He knows what I'm talking about. Ever since then, I've been working my way in.
So your first day you walk in here and you had a news station, it's an official job. How was the feeling when you walked in here the first day?
Well, we weren't in this studio, so it was like
the one in Albany, or was it still?
It was the one over on 7th Street. We were over on 7th Street. It was pretty much like a box, like a closet. It wasn't an actual studio, but it made do. We did what we had to do, and this is where we ended up.
One of my favorite things that you do, when you first start your story, you walk into the screen when you start in your stories. When did that start?
When I got that big old TV right there is when it started. I actually used to share the green screen with our meteorologist, Matthew Crumley.
Shout out to Matthew.
Shout out to Matthew. I know how much he hated sharing that green screen with me, but no, I was over on the green screen for a little bit, and I used to just stand there on the camera. But I brought it over with me to when I got this big old TV, and I don't know. It was never I should just walk into camera kind of thing. It was just more like let's just do it, I don't know, it never dawned on me, and I never thought about it, it just happened, kind of thing.
So, what is a typical day for sports director Reese Furlow?
Waking up, going to the gym, coming to the office.
Maybe a phone call from Brighten to get on your nerves throughout the day or something?
Yeah, I'm blocked, deny, why is he calling me? No, I come into the office, I'm one of those people that needs to plan ahead. Right. So I'll the night before, I'm always putting my scripts together, always putting my stories together, so that when I come in here, all I got to do is just put it in and give it to these guys and just roll with it. Start learning my script and making any changes that I need to make. But after that, we do the show. go get lunch, come back, mess around for a little bit, you know, tweak my scripts, do the 6 o'clock show, go home and get ready to see, you know, like check in on the games because a lot of games start at, you know, 7, 8 o'clock. So I'll just wait for those games to end and then I'll start getting in on my scripts.
I got a personal question from, I'm gonna just say it's me. Why do you be, when you be reporting, why do you be reporting on these Braves losing and you be so excited?
Up 3-0, but the Red Sox are going to answer back in the bottom of the inning with a home run of their own to make it 3-1, followed by 3 more runs crossing the plate in the 7th inning to put Boston up 4-3. Former Brave Adam Duvall is going to add 1 more run for the Red Sox.
You be so excited when we lose these games.
Well, you know I'm a Mets fan, Rodney, so anytime, I mean, you know, the Mets suck, and I'll never forget, when I ran into a Mets, no, it was a Yankees fan in New York, and it was a Yankees-Mets game, Subway Series,
Right.
and he was like, man, you know what Mets stands for? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, my entire team sucks. Bruh. And ever since then, I was just like, all right, well, you know what? He's kind of right. I can't be mad about it, but, man, why did it come from you, you know? So
Right.
anytime I can rash on the Braves because, you know, obviously they are NL East rivals, because the Braves are always winning, you know? It's like, you share some love.
No, no, we're not sharing no love.
Share some love.
Now, but seriously, have you met any Mets fans here who you kind of, you know, like, you know, maybe in passing, maybe somebody watched the show, like, have you met any Mets fans? 'Cause I know you're in South Georgia, so.
Yeah, everybody here is a Braves fan. Every time I go to Walmart, it's like, how about them Braves? And it's just like, oh, man, like, yeah, how about them Braves? But thankfully, our reporter, Brian Roche, is also a Mets fan, so at least I have some sort of connection.
Okay, so let's go to football right quick, because I know you're not this bird, which is my Falcon. I know you understand you like another bird team. Are you going to say, I'm going to let you introduce them. What is your favorite football team?
It would be the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are my favorite football team, unfortunately.
Okay, how did that come about?
Well, back in middle school, it's no like crazy story. It's just one of those things where it's just like back in middle school, I didn't watch football. I was all baseball. So up until then, I was sitting down one day with my dad. We were back home in Florida, and it was a Arizona Cardinals versus Dallas Cowboys game in 2008. I don't know when.
Go Cardinals that game.
Go Cardinals that game. So I was just like, you know what? Whoever wins this game, I'm going to be a fan of that team for the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
Thankfully, it wasn't the Cowboys that won that game because I'd be the most hated man on the planet. But, you know, the Cardinals had their ups and downs. Thankfully, that year they went to the Super Bowl, so it didn't seem like I made a wrong choice, but 10 years later, it started to dwell on me.
This is my last sports question. I'm going to get back to the sports directing side. Which team do you think is going to win a championship first? Is it going to be the Mets or is it going to be the Cards?
I think the world will end by the time either team makes it to a championship. Probably the Mets.
I agree with that. I'm going to get back to the sportscaster side of things. I know we do different things like, you know, live shots or, you know, you're in the studio doing studio at 6 or 12. What is your favorite content to make when you're doing the sports?
Probably being out in the field. I prefer being out in the field. I mean, you know, being in the studio and wearing a suit and tie is nice and all. Having air conditioning is nice and all, but there's just something about being out in the field, being engaging with the community, everybody seeing your face. It's just something about that makes it more. I feel like you're more free to be out in the field and talk sports like that.
One of my favorite shots that you did was you slid on the slide and you was talking on the mic. Can you run me through how all that came about?
Sometimes you just get to an event and you just know, like, okay, I got to do this. And shout out to Irwin County Baseball. They had a youth camp that day, and the coach was like, you know, I had built a great rapport with the coach. We had gone out and covered like their state championship run. So of course he and I were very cool. And I got to the event. It was a youth baseball camp, and I got to the event. They had broke out the water slide, and he's like, "Yeah, we're teaching the kids how to slide into first base." I'm like, "Coach, no, like, be real." Right. And you know, it was hot. I was thirsty. Everything was going wrong for me, and I was just like, "You know what, Coach? You mind if I kick off the shoes and just try it?" He's like, "You want to give it a shot?" I'm like, "Go ahead." I was like, all right, let me throw the mic up and the camera up and let me try it out. Okay, yeah.
So does it just pop up like, I'm here, like, good idea, I'm gonna do this? Or you kind of like day before kind of plan this out?
Shout out to showers. Showers are where I get all my ideas from. Whenever I'm just
Is that an app I can steal from? Or like, who is Showers?
No, like when you're taking a shower.
Oh, shower.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
No, when I'm taking a shower, all my ideas come into my head. And I was just like, you know what? My old news director has a map in there. I can just be like, this was my first actual going out and doing a story, like leaving Albany,
right,
doing a story. So I felt like I needed to go big. And I was just like, you know what? Let's do a Where's Reese type of thing.
Here's our lost sports director, Reese Furlow, with your sneak peek from a new location.
Yeah, Morgan, I got this strange feeling we're not in Albany anymore. Find out where Reese may have made the wrong turn coming up in sports. And I was like, you know what? Hey, anchor, it doesn't seem like I'm in Albany anymore. Where could I be? And that's when I would show like, oh, I'm at the College Football Hall of Fame. So it's just ideas like that just pop up in my head whenever I'm taking a shower.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you guys are going to have a new draft pick in December. I think his name is Rodney Washington. I think the newest person going to be in December.
Oh, okay.
When is the first time you ever heard about Rodney Washington?
Oh, man. Gosh, I can't really recall. Maybe some, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I remember Josh, our current news director, telling me that shout out to Josh, that you had like ran into our studio trying to like beg and plead for a job. So something along those lines of like, okay, we had to cave in and give you a contract, something along those. Yeah, or else you were gonna beat us all up. So we were like, all right, screw it. We need help. So no, but yeah, he told me like there's gonna be a guy coming along one of these days. He came by the studio and asked for an application, and you came by already, ready to learn, willing to learn, and that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this guy can definitely be hired.
I really appreciate that, and lost my train of thought.
Well, what made you want to come by the studio and just say, hey, why not this place?
Well, I'm from Albany, and I was here at my grandfather's funeral. He passed away December 27th, and I was picking up my dry cleaners, and I just so happened to saw the studio when I'm leaving by. So me, my mother, and my nephew, I went in there and talked to Susan. She was in there, and I just showed her. I didn't even have that much. I think I was taking my first vocal training class, so I just learned how to do stand-ups. So when I did my stand-up, I'm actually looking at the paper like not how you're supposed to be doing it. So I had a story on the NFC going south.
It is. All teams in the NFC South all have a combined record of 18-29, and the Buccaneers leading the division at 5-6.
Because all the teams suck that year.
Yeah.
So I made a story like that and showed that to her, and she showed it to Josh, and Josh hit me up at 11:45 on Instagram DMs. I called him at 11:46 p.m.
Wow.
Literally a minute later, but it was a little bit too late, and I had a meeting the next day at IL course, and gave me a phone call. We conversated, and now you see me here every time I got time to stalk y'all and get on your nerves.
Have you ever seen, prior to going into the station, had you ever seen one of our casts before?
No.
So it was just like
why not? It was like a why not thing. Okay. Like I know eventually, like I mean, it was December at the time. I know I graduated in November, but what the hell? I'm from Albany, and it would just make sense for me. Like my family's from here, and like it would just be a good first beginning to be here where I'm from. Well, Albany's very own.
Had you gone any further south, you would have ran into the other station. So thankfully, we were your first stop.
Right. Yeah, I'm here. This is the loyal spot, man. So I'm just looking forward to be a part of the team. That's all I really want.
Well, you'll do fantastic. You got a willingness to learn, and you're on your way. So
I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
but
I'm looking forward to it.
One of my other questions for you is how is what is the atmosphere like? I know people see you on TV, but they don't really see like the background of like how everybody is. Like, what is the atmosphere in here?
Everybody hates each other. Yeah, we're all at each other's necks. We all want to kill each other, especially the guy that's running Master Control right now. I can't stand him. Yeah, everybody in there sucks. I can't wait to get out of here. No, it's a very family-oriented team. You get to other news stations, you see everybody's like very business. There are some places where you don't even get to meet other people. Like sports will probably never run into the news team. The news team will never run into the creative services team. But here, everybody knows each other. I think that's a great thing to have in that kind of environment.
I really agree with that. So, what was your favorite story? I know you did a bunch, I know, but what is a story that just sticks out to you that you covered here?
I got a couple. Can I name a couple?
Man, you can name as many as you want to.
So, this is gonna sound crazy, maybe cringe or cliche, but I'm very big into women's sports. You know, I feel like they don't get enough attention or love that they should. And so my goal as a sports reporter is to give everybody the same equal amount of love. And that's what I like to do for women's sports. So my very first women's sports story was called Title IX, Then and Now. And I had interviewed the assistant athletic director from Albany State. And she was around during like the very first time Title IX became a thing. Just basically like no discrimination among women in any sport. And I had interviewed her, she gave me a great story. And I felt like I put together a very, very good story. Another one I did was the first time I ever went to an Atlanta Hawks game. It was on MLK Day. And I made a great MLK Day piece. It wasn't just about the Hawks, it was about, you know, why the Hawks play on MLK Day. And most recently, probably the Atlanta Dream. It's a very nice atmosphere to be at. I wish you were able to go to one of those games. I know you missed out on it, but when you get to an Atlanta Dream game, you'll see like, man, this is just as fierce as a Hawks game or as like a Braves game.
You know, this kind of poetic justice, because I remember when I was with you and with the camera, you let me do my actual first shot at Chris Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember in my live shot that I had to talk about the women's softball team.
Hello, hello, hello. As you can see, I'm in the land of the Chris Academy as they're looking to get the win over Grace Christian Academy. Halftime, it'll be a ring ceremony for the softball team. But we're going to see if Chris Academy can get their second win of the season.
So it just makes sense for you to always want to bring, like today when you did your show, like you said, Women's Friday.
That's right,
so, like,
Female Friday.
Female Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
Like you're always going on with the ladies and putting on for the ladies. I really respect that.
Yeah, and I hope they appreciate that too. Like we go up for women's sports here, more so than anybody else, I want to say. So I appreciate that, you know, the women's side gets as much love as the men's side do.
So for your opinion, what does CBS 44 represent for you?
Shoot, man, I don't know. I'm just here to collect a check, honestly. No, what does it represent? That's a good question. I guess growth, in a way. You know, it's all a learning experience here. You know, everybody's. I don't want to sound like crazy, but this is kind of like a next step. You come in here, put together something good, and then you leave. And it sucks to say something like that, but this is a good start. And I don't think I would have gotten any sort of experience anywhere else. So I can't take this place for granted. They gave me the opportunity to be who I am now.
Let me see, watch real quick. You ain't got to take. Let me see. So maybe 10 years down the road, you know, it's a lot of tits gonna go.
This doesn't work, by the way.
Yeah, let them tell you. What is your plan 10 years down the road, Mr. Furlow?
10 years. That's actually a good time frame, because in 10 years, my goal is to be on a major sports network. And I wanted to start off on ESPN, but you know, there's been a lot of layoffs, a lot of people. Yeah, so a lot of discrimination I've been hearing, but my goal is to be on a major sports network, because I feel like sports in news is kind of dying off. We always get like the last block, I want to say. We only get like a couple of minutes. So I feel like if I go to a major network that only caters to sports, like ESPN, like SEC Network, like NFL Network, like, you know, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, then I can get more time to shine.
So what's your favorite sport to cover?
Favorite sport to cover? Oh, it's got to be football. Yeah, I know more about football than any other sport. So.
You a Madden player? You play Madden in video games?
I think the last Madden I played was Madden 15. I think that was the last best Madden. I don't think you can.
15 was pretty good, but yeah. I'm gonna take a guess. You can let me know if I'm wrong. I think the first system you probably had was Sega.
That sounds about right. A
Yeah.
Genesis?
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds about right. I used to crush Tomb Raider on the Gen. Yeah.
This game was lit. Yeah. So you like more like Grand Theft Auto? You more like a one player like Zelda, Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
You got to have like a team. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, I have my 2Ks, I have my Maddens, I have my MLB The Shows, but if I ever want to just sit down and casually game, yeah, I'll play Zelda, I'll play Harry Potter, I'll play Star Wars, you know, nerd out.
So I know like when you be doing shows like in the studio, like your personality is just out. Like Ricky could be sitting here being serious. So I'll see you tomorrow, and you'll be like right behind him, like doing things like that. Like, how did that come about?
Well, being here, and I think everybody who's, you know, from Albany can vouch for this, but, you know, Albany's not the best place to live. So it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, when all you hear is crime and murder and all this stuff, it's just like, let's liven it up a little bit. And I feel like sports is the only segment, you know, besides weather, that where you can be lively. Right. So that's what I kind of like try to squeeze in to the newscast, is just being a little bit live and, you know, raising everybody's spirits.
So when the Braves win the championship and raise everybody's spirits, what you gonna be doing this year? So this is the time you're gonna walk away? Oh my goodness. Now, but seriously though, I'm gonna let you go with this right here. What do you want the legacy of Reese Furlow to be when somebody's reading the book on you, or just overall looking into your life?
Man, honestly, I just want to be remembered. You know, I want to go out knowing like I didn't cause any controversy. I just want people to know, like, when I'm done, I gave it my all and I was great at it. I just want to go out as the greatest of all time. For
sure. So, and also I want to tell you that I really appreciate you guys letting me be on the team. Everybody in the studio, everybody's always nice to me, shake my hands. They actually gave me a key so I can actually like go in here at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Don't do it at 2 a.m.
Okay.
That alarm will go off.
Oh, fair enough. But I want to say, you know, thank you again. And when I get here, I'm going to be a good part of the team.
Be a star,
and
man.
Just be a team player, man. That's what I really want to do. But it's been Rodney Snooty Washington with the sports director, Reese Furlow. And I'm going to try to, like, convince him to come be a Falcon fan or something like that.
That's not happening.
Fair enough. But it's been fun, and we here, and we out.